Here for another edition of Lippe and CAIN'S Renovation World, and today we're going to be looking at the whole process of sheetrocking this particular landing, and I'm going to show you in some close-ups the specific areas that we're going to be looking at. And one of the exciting challenges about today is the fact that whoever built this house, the condo, if you can see, the cement comes out about an inch and a half. So there's a real challenge there. Tell us a little bit about how we're going to handle that challenge.
So now we're about to get ready to prep this wall to make sure that the new sheetrock that's going to go up has no creases in it. We're going to take a piece of 1/2 inch or 3/8 plywood, put it up here, cover this whole spot. It's going to bring it out to where this foundation is, which they should have done in the beginning when they built the home. But we're going to make it come out so when we put the sheetrock up, it's going to go up nice and smooth. There's not going to be a crease. You won't see any imperfections in the wall.
Sounds great. We're looking forward to doing that. All right, we're back here at Lippe and CAIN'S Renovation World, and we're looking at the particular segment where we're going to be cutting the plywood in preparation for laying the sheetrock, replacing the sheetrock, which we talked about in the existing segment. And Dan is going to take us through the process. He's made some measurements, or he's going to be making some measurements. So tell us a little bit about what we're going to be doing, Dan.
Basically, you're going to cut the sheetrock to the length that we need it, and it's at 76 inches. Rip that down, and we're going to slap it on the wall.
All right, sounds good. We'll show you the process, making cuts 76 inches, put that on the wall, and then once we show you the actual preparation process of the plywood, we'll put the actual sheetrock on and show you how that works. Right now, yep. Try to get it to the corner. Tuck this into place. Fingers. Once we screw it in, it'll pull nice and tight against the existing studs here. Okay. Make sure it pins in one. Ready? Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You?
Yeah.
All right. All we're doing is making up a space.
Okay, you got that? I do. We'll hold this right now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm holding this right now. And we're getting ready to put some sheetrock screws in. And this is for the plywood, the 1/2 inch plywood, which is highly recommended when you have that problem with the cement coming out about an inch and a half or so. You can see Dan's putting his whole weight behind it. What do you have to do on a job of this magnitude?
I'm going to step out of camera view for a second here. Get me.
Dan's just grabbing some sheetrock screws right now.
The makeshift step ladder. But we're having fun with
force. And it's right into the 2x4, puts his weight up against it. But you can see how difficult it can be when something like this happens. What inspired the builder to build it in such a way where there was cement coming out an inch and a half or so? It actually looked like the sheetrock was being pushed out, so it made it an aesthetic nightmare. But this time, it's really going to look very, very nice. And it's a nice piece of plywood too, you know? Very beautiful. Sometimes what actually happens is that a sheetrock screw can go in at an angle. You have to pull it out to make sure that it's even. All right, we're back here for Von Lippe and Cain's Renovation World. We're doing the next segment to get ready for the sheetrocking, and Dan's going to be prepared to make some cuts in the sheetrock. We mentioned some of the measurements we had before, Dan.
Yep.
So we're ready to go.
Ready to go. First one's 75 1/4.
All right. So we bring the measuring tape all the way down here. 75 1/4 was what we had measured it to when we were downstairs in the last segment. And Dan is just going along the sheetrock, making the measurements, getting ready to finish the cuts. I'm going to grab this, it's basically just an X-Acto knife that you can use, and just goes right along to make the cut. When you're using sheetrock, you use different tools depending upon what you're cutting as we go about. So he's just, the measurements have to be really precise, and that's what we're trying to do right now, is just making sure that that's the way it is. Otherwise, you have to go back, and it can get expensive. So that's, I want to try and get it right the first time. So again, just a basic X-Acto knife, and Dan is just applies a little bit of pressure, brings it down, and it's almost just going to fall with ease. It'll just come right down, and then this piece, once he gets to the other side of it, will go right in front of the plywood. Much better situation than it was before. You know, with the existing cement, it'll just be very, very smooth. To really see the difference. Dan's making the final cuts, and Dan's getting ready to make another measurement, which is
42 inches.
42 inches. Right in, and very, very precise. And it can happen sometimes with whether it's sheetrock, plywood, what have you, that you go too long, and it's always better to have a little bit extra if you need it for supplies. Lots of different types of sheetrock that you can buy, whether it's the 3/8, 5/8, depending upon the job that you're working on. So as you can see, Dan is very, very precise. Applies the slightest bit of pressure, and the 42-inch measurement on the sheetrock. Move this other piece out of the way, and then we'll be able to start putting that sheetrock up. Nice and smooth before we paint. Very slow. Yeah. Do the cut the right way. X-Acto knife. Don't need to apply a lot of force. That way you're not going to get that straight. You don't want to do that. All right. We've got our two pieces, and all right, we're back here for Von Lippe and Cain's Renovation World, and right behind me is Jessica Cain, Dan Cain's wife, and of course Dan Cain, and we're getting ready to put the sheetrock down against the concrete. And if you look real closely, you can see that Jessica is putting the construction adhesive. Getting a nice and it's just a regular caulking gun that she has right there. You look at it, and then what you'll see is it'll just, the sheetrock, the actual sheetrock itself will just fit right into place. Making a nice little line there. Alright, we're back. Bottom of being CAIN'S Renovation World, and we're ready to put this bottom piece in. Get the construction adhesive, which you saw in the last segment that Jess put into place.
Yep.
And we just have to very comfortably
Snug it in. Yep. Kick in the bottom. Push that right in there. Get in there.
Alright, so getting a little low here, but you can see what we did. We've put the sheetrock in, and you can see what Dan's doing over here. He's putting in some sheetrock screws at this point right now. So what we're going to do is we will have one other piece. Okay, welcome back to Lippe and CAIN'S Renovation World. This is really the exciting part. We're going to be finishing the sheetrock job. If you look behind us, you can see that the plywood, very smooth in place. We're able to screw everything in, and it's going to be nice and solid after it's painted, and we won't have the previous problem we had before. Tell us a little bit about what we're going to be doing now.
Well, just to refer back to your previous problem, it was a big crease going across, whereas the foundation didn't meet up with the existing studs, so we took that plywood, put that in there to make it, bring it out so there won't be any crease.
Right, so it's nice and smooth.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece of sheetrock here, we're going to raise it, put it up in place, get it screwed in.
Yep.
After it's screwed in, we're going to move on to taping it and then putting some mud down. Once that mud dries, we're ready to sand, do a little painting.
Right.
We're going to make it look like there was never any crease.
That's great. And what were you saying about when the sheetrock goes up? There's a certain catchphrase that you were.
The way we cut the first piece is we kept the factory edge on the top.
Right.
So as you see here, this is a factory edge. We didn't cut this edge. It came from the factory like that. And as you can see on this next piece, we cut the top edge. Factory edge is on the bottom. So we're basically just going to put both factory edges together to get a nice smooth seam.
Just goes right smoothly over it, and then we'll be able to apply the sheetrock mud. We get some Blue Hawk drywall screws that will just go directly in.
Yep.
Very easy to do, and you don't really have to worry about the studs and getting things right with the studs. So that's what we're going to do right now. Let's go to